everybody, and welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters. If you thought we were done with you, we're not. We're moving on to game number 6, our final game of the day, and we are rounding out with Group D, as we just had a win from KC, as they are 3-0 in the first stage of the round robin, and then the two teams looking to contest for second, realistically, MOUZ and Vodafone Giants, to be going toe-to-toe in this matchup. Aux, talk to me about these teams. They've both lost to KC, but beaten Matchco, so this is kind of like, to me, the deciding match of, like, at least in the first round robin, who was the stronger of the two.
Yeah, I think it's close to call. I am edging towards Vodafone Giants. You know, I think as the Super League has looked actually really good this season. I think, you know, last year they were maybe a bit weaker, but I think they came on top of a strong region. And Mousesports, there was moments where they have looked really good. I think particularly when it comes to the sort of late game team fights, when they're grouped together as 5, they actually look really on form. But I feel like there was a lot of situations where people were getting caught out, people were a bit split, and that's kind of where they were lacking. It is hard to sort of judge power levels though, because, you know, they both beat Matchco and it was close, but they both lost to KCOL. But again, you know, it's KCOL, right? And I think this will be the big decider, as you said, because with the massive lead that's been pulled by KCOL, it is still possible to catch them. But I think, you know, this matchup between these two is going to basically decide who has the opportunity to catch up on them. It still can be equalized in the second round robin, but really important one. And I think the sort of players I want to highlight for MOUZ, Pridestalkr has really been on point. Him and Czekolad mid jungle have been big sort of proponents for them having sort of leads in the game. But for Vodafone Giants, Attila has been absolutely on fire, you know?
Yeah.
I think especially when we're talking about Cabochard, who's obviously been in the LEC before and sort of come back down to the ERL level, Attila is another example of someone who is showing that sort of veterancy and has been absolutely on fire, absolutely on point. The Ezreal game where he literally just 1v9'd, I think that is my big concern for Mousesports is, can you deal with Attila? Can you shut him down? Because yeah, he has been on fire.
But, you know, if you look towards the top side of Vodafone Giants as well, you've got, you know, a giant within the ERL system in the Antonio. He's been, I think, on it since the first EU Masters, if not definitely the second. He's been playing in the European Masters for a very, very long time. Very storied player here. So, you know, there's a lot of big names in this game if you followed the ERL scene. And obviously, you know, a couple of names to jump out if you obviously just followed the LEC or ULCS. As we are now into the picks and bans, the Ezreal, Tristana, and the Kasing.
I wonder who they're targeting here. Yeah, a lot of bans thrown towards Attila in this situation. His Ezreal performance is absolutely monstrous. Tristana makes sense. You could even look to take away the Aphelios if you're really concerned. But the Varus ban from Vodafone Giants, so not wanting to give over an AD carry, that is very comfortable for Gadget and also not very interactive. They instead go for the Thresh, which isn't an Aphelios ban, but obviously Thresh and Aphelios is a very powerful duo, so it does limit the pickability of that altogether.
It also limits the pickability of other AD carries as well at the same time. So it's
I like that word, pickability.
It's a good word. It's a multi-ban in a way in that sense. Is the Rakan's going to get taken away from Kamilius? Don't want to give that over. It's been heavily prioritized today, and junglers been kind of left open here, so they can go for the pick of the litter. They can maybe look to go elsewhere, but I feel like we'll probably see an early jungle rotation here.
Yeah, I mean, the Viego is an option. They actually go for Syndra. So this is something they can flex. Gadget is, I mean, I think in general, this is true for the Prime League. There's a lot more Mage or Enchanter bot lane players in the Prime League in general. Kennen is a big example of that, but it feels like the whole league very much look to play those. And Syndra is something you can flex towards bot lane, but still a very powerful pick for Czekolad. It does give choice to jungler over the Vodafone Giants, but I don't think MOUZ are too concerned, given that, you know, you still have Viego, you still have Trundle, still have Lee Sin, and we see the Braum coming out for Kasing. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, the Rakan is something you can very easily pick on a Braum, and that's blinded. But this does mean that MOUZ cannot have free reign to pick an Enchanter, because Braum can't really pressure them too much.
Well, with the Trundle pickup there, pretty common pickup into the things like the kind of trifecta of top tier junglers. They decide rather have that over something like a Viego. They're going to pick themselves up the Sett as well. Technically a flexible pick, so it can get moved around somewhat here. But if Giants now looking to maybe lock in just a solid bot lane, maybe lock in something that can handle the Syndra in the mid lane. We'll see what they decide to do, but I feel like when you want to be playing around Attila, you probably want to just get a really nice bot lane duo here, and that is going to be the game plan. They're going to lock in the Sivir as the final rotation. What do you make of the Sivir lock-in?
We don't say too much, but it is something that Attila plays, right? It is one of his picks with Ezreal gone, Tristana gone. FLICKR's looking less appealing without the Lantern there. Sivir is something he leans on now. It is immobile in the sense that the pillar is quite difficult to deal with, but he does get a lot of movement speed, so can just kind of circumvent that. I will say I like the Sett pick because I think in a support role does pretty well under the Braum, because obviously you can just kind of use your ult to either pull Braum away, pull the AD carry past the wall, slam them together with your E. You have options, but he can still go top lane, which is why Vodafone Giants will ban the Alistar. Another champion you can kind of disrupt Braum from being able to block. Leona, Nautilus are pretty fine matchups for the Braum, so those left open for now. Off the side of MOUZ, I would look towards solo laners. Potentially the Blanc is something that you could opt to ban away in this situation. They are going to take out the Victor first.
Oh, we'll see what the next ban is going to be. Maybe another support can get taken away. Obviously, you've got things like the Leona, the Nautilus open if you want, if you're worried about kind of engagey supports. Although Braum typically does pretty well into those matchups, just because concussive blows are really irritating when you jump in. So
and the wall,
maybe they're quite happy to leave that open and actually focus out, you know, something that can be a nuisance and engage from a distance into Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe, really powerful at the moment, risen priority a lot, and just outranges the Sivir. That's one of the issues. It's just the fact that you have that range advantage in early levels. Once you start applying those slows to the Sivir, very hard to get away. I still expect the second ban to probably be a mid laner. They're going to go for that Seraphine, which is something that we've seen Miniduke play. Obviously, with, you know, the movement speed from the Sivir, the Xin Zhao buffing them up will make them very powerful. And we're going to see Antonio pick up the Kennen. So a lot of team fighting power. And when you think about a lot of those mobile AD carries have been trimmed away. There's no Thresh as an option. A lot of peel support's gone. This looks like easy pickings for the Kennen to potentially find some backline access. There is the Sett, there is the Syndra who can disengage him, but still a lot of threat from the Antonio. And now, well, MOUZ, we'll have to see what they opt to pick up here. Actually going for the KogMaw and the Lulu in this situation. So this is kind of what we talked about with the Braum. With the Braum picked up, you can take an Enchanter, right? There's not that much threat to jump on top of the Lulu. KogMaw Lulu a very strong duo, and you're just going to outrange the Sivir. This is going to be a tricky lane for Attila and Kasing, and we said we wanted to see MOUZ answer Attila because he's such a massive threat. This is a duo that can do it. It'll end up being that Sett in the top lane, Syndra mid, and now for Vodafone Giants, it's just what they want to wrap up with in the mid lane. I really do like the TF. It means you can enable him to play through those side lanes, and if you see an Enchanter bot lane, I think it sets up for some pretty easy dives.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is actually, I think it's a really nice round out into what was starting to get a little bit scary for the side of Vodafone Giants. But I'd like to get your thoughts on the comps themselves, because you know, now we got them locked in. What are you favoring? What are we liking? What are we disliking about these teams?
So honestly, I kind of like what MOUZ have, right? You have a really strong mid jungle duo, both of them a lot of early pressure. Top lane, the Sett, you know, if you can get on top of the Kennen is great, but most of all, the important thing is in team fights, you can disengage the Kennen, you can dive in for engage, and then we have this Kog Lulu who are super powerful, you know. You can take a Mikhails, you can take Cleanse, it limits the threat from things like the TF and the KogMaw. And realistically, my main concern for this game was about Attila and what he can do, because he's been monstrous so far. And his lane matchup in this one is rough. So I think in terms of drafts, I am leaning a bit towards Mousesports here. That being said, I think Vodafone Giants so far have looked like the better team, and I think they definitely have tools to play around with, particularly that TF in the mid lane.
Well, we loaded through onto the Rift for our final game. Day 3 here at the Amazon EU Masters. This is from the Superliga, their first seed, Vodafone Giants, representing Spain and representing the Dark League and the Prime League, the 3rd seed in MOUZ. So they are setting up a 5-man Death Brush. Gadget hasn't spotted them out quite yet, and concussive blows early. Pretty painful. Oh, he's been seen. They're chasing him down. They're going to land the Q. They're going to land the knock-up, and that with the gold card forces the cleanse out as Miniduke actually jumps over the flash. I think that's a bit of an overreach.
You know what? I'll take that, in all honesty. Sort of favorable sums towards you. No flash on TF potentially leaves it as a vulnerability. The downside, though, is that we could actually potentially see a map split setup if Vodafone Giants really want it. I think there was from this recall, they are going to sorry, that was the Antonio I'm talking about. So there was a Lee Sin when I saw the energy bar. Anyway, they're going to go for this map split. I actually really like this from Vodafone Giants. You have the TF, you have the Braum, who are very strong level 1. It was a bit of an overcommit. The thing with the stun card is because cleanse has been used, it reduces subsequent CC for a bit as well, and that's why it lasted nearly 0 time. But overall, this is going to mean a lot of pressure on Gadget and Kamilius. We talked about those potential dives bot lane. They're going to be set up early. And we're also getting some extra spice in this one. We're getting a lane swap between mid and top lane. So Satorius not wanting to get put in a matchup against the Kennen. It's now Syndra into Kennen. And that is really not fun for the Kennen. He wants to be in a ranged against money matchup. Czekolad should just be able to bully him out.
Other than the fact that this is a rough matchup for the Antonio, though, do you think this is okay for Miniduke? Because he's going to be shoved in early versus the likes of a Syndra. And, you know, the lane shove is a problem when you're playing TF because you want to be able to push the wave and then look to go out for a destiny onto the map.
Honestly, I feel like if it was a different story if Miniduke had flash. I actually think that changes it quite a bit. Because again, the Syndra is a bit rougher being able to push in. You can sort of match later on. But the concern against the Sett isn't so much sort of wave priority as it is kill threat, and you're now flashless. So if Pridestalkr turns up with a pillar, you're probably just going down. I mean, I guess with Syndra that's also applicable, but yeah, either way, potentially rough. Now, I expected a map split, but 113 has actually moved up towards the top side. He knows he doesn't have lane priority though, so he will end up backing away and giving up his red. I think maybe he was a little bit greedy, thinking he'd get that one and get out. Ultimately, this has been an okay start for the side of Vodafone Giants. The bot lane definitely enjoying the early matchup so far.
Yeah, Antonio just feeling the pain in this lane, but, you know, it's not quite like it was in the last game where, you know, if you do fall behind, you're not all that useful. And the Antonio going to rub his socks on the carpet, get himself a bit of movement speed off and flash away as Pridestalkr lets him run him down. First blood, topside to Pridestalkr.
Yeah, really good start. Shut down that top lane of the Kennen, but in behind, very advantageous. And you see Gadget and Kamilius, they're just farming in a tower. They're fine with this, right? The threat isn't really there because you kind of need 3 members plus ideally Miniduke to come down to offer that dive. And as long as Gadget can play defensively until he has cleanse up, it would be pretty hard to pull that off unless you're bringing the TF in. And for now, they'll kind of just chill, play things slow. But this is the dangerous point when the wave starts to push out, where you end up having to overextend. But with 113 resetting, Gadget and Kamilius should be okay.
Well, the Antonio continues to be harassed in his lane. Miniduke closing in on having his flashback. Still got a couple of minutes until that's back, but almost there and almost into that safety zone. We have a look at the top lane. Antonio just gets caught out.
Yeah, I mean, just a really nice move. But again, this is the rough thing, right? Is 2 members bot lane, especially when you have exhaust from Kamilius, can be quite hard to dive. But the fact it's just 1 member top, it was so easy there for Pridestalkr to walk in, especially when he's already chunked out. Now, you see that stun card mid and will end up forcing the flash from Satorius, so nice to see that from 113 showing that pressure. In the meantime, the Antonio once again chunked out, and Czekolad has TP, so he's just going to reset TP back in if he wants to. But we're finally getting that run bot lane we're talking about. Cleanse is back up for Gadget, but Miniduke has found an opportunity to move, and it's a little bit scary for these bot laners, but they are resetting, so no dive to come for this, but they will probably end up missing out on a wave here.
And I mean, look at the Antonio. He's underneath his tier 2 and he can't even reset there. Nowhere is safe.
There's no TP as well.
Kennen.
So he is
we're having literally what we had last game with
and look at the wave.
Oh.
Look at the wave. It is a disaster. This is going to end up just pushing out. And I mean, again, the Antonio is going to have to walk up. And I think it's going to get to the point where Czekolad might hit level 6 when the Antonio is still level 4. There's just so little you can do. I mean, it's honestly, I think Giants have to do something about this. They need to send someone up there to help push this wave in and sort this out. Otherwise, this Kennen is never getting back into the game.
I feel like at least the one thing you do have is the slicing maelstrom. The problem is you might not even get the stun off in time. You might just get blown up. Miniduke closing in on his level 6, so maybe there it is. Gonna look to just the destiny up if needs be. They've got 113 also moving up towards the top side to cover to make sure that the Antonio can shove this wave in. I don't think Czekolad is going to be freezing here, as you can see the gold leads, so the experience between these players, and 1-1-3 is going to make sure that the Antonio is able to shove this lane in, but Pridestalkr's in the area, and I remember
This is a level 6 Syndra.
They're looking to roam over. Destiny has been used. Teleport to follow up as well. Gold card onto Pridestalkr. He's been locked in place with the lightning and the gold cards, and that should just be a kill. Gifted over to Miniduke. He's losing vision as one final red card will secure the kill. Czekolad does get a kill on the other side, though. Both junglers fall.
But honestly, Vodafone Giants are fine with this one, right? They crashed the wave for the Antonio. That's the important thing. So it's going to now bounce back, and he's going to be able to head over and pick it up. I'm saying that he actually might be routed here because Satorius is in the way. So he actually going to end up missing more farm. I take that back. It's actually kind of bad. The Antonio's mid to cover Miniduke, but now he's just missed even more farm. I think that was just a missed decision. I felt like the play had gone well. You crashed the wave, you trade 1 for 1, but now he's missing more farm. Definitely not an optimal situation here. And now that the wave has crashed into the tower, it's going to push out again. So we're going to have that same problem on repeat.
We'll see what the Antonio is going to be able to do, whether or not they go for that play again. Obviously, Destiny, 1/3 of its cooldown has been used, so Miniduke should have it somewhat soon as well. Just going to teleport back to mid lane and continue to try and hold pressure in this lane. He has built himself a CS lead over his counterpart in Satorius, but nothing like we've seen in the top side. And with an unleashed power not on cooldown, luckily for the Antonio. He won't be dying today, but...
Have you seen that before, Jake, by the way, that exact situation?
Yeah, for the last 7 minutes, in fact, as there's the slam back. Miniduke has to flash away. Kasing's making his way over. Gonna jump in. No Glacial Fissure available, but they've got the gold cards to lock people in place. Satorius goes for the face breaker. Hasn't got himself the haymaker as he does, actually. Turning it around. Gadget finds the kill. And MOUZ are just picking that one up. Attila was on a reset. So they didn't have their AD carry here and now Miniduke running away does have that red card for the slow though, so he should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, Satorius held his W for so long there. Oh, the ult's up,
No. Oh no.
Ooh, a little bit close getting the stun, but Czekolad able to find him, and the Antonio is a disaster. Again, the wave state was fixed. It got ruined again. Czekolad kills him. No TP available. He's going to push this wave in. It's on repeat. It's a cycle. It's just happening again and again and again. And the Antonio's having a disaster now. This play, Satorius holds the haymaker for such a long time. And the critical moment I want to point out is when he gets jumped on here, look at the fact his grit is building up. His grit is capped. He still doesn't have to use it. He's still waiting for a better opportunity. Only uses it there at nearly 0 HP. Gets the true damage on a Xin Zhao. And again, the problem there was you're engaged, you're sort of focusing your damage onto a Sett who's just not an easy target. But yeah, I mean, not a fun time for the Antonio. There's nothing else to say on this.
I'll give it to him. He did a pretty decent job of actually finding that initial trade, but the scatter of the way from Czekolad, the flash out from the tower meant that was no real threat for him.
And again, the problem is you burn your ult, you burn your flash. Doesn't really put you in a good spot. Yeah, we do see Vodafone Giants able to pick up that dragon on the bot side. Again, a lot of attention has been on the top side for MOUZ. And we see it once more. Look at the wave in the top lane. It's just on repeat, I swear, every time.
They've got Destiny this time. That's the one thing you can work around. You've got Destiny.
It's cyclical. It's just like it happens again and again. Big wave from the Antonio pushing in, and then when they push the wave back, he ends up dying. It's just, I don't know. The gold lead in this top lane is massive, and that's the thing, right? Miniduke has a gold lead mid, not just from his passive, but that kill he's picked up. Jungle is ahead in farm. AD carries ahead in farm for Vodafone Giants. But the gold lead is in favor of MOUZ, and it's pretty much just because of this top lane. I guess Pridestalkr does have some kills and assists, so he's actually up in gold overall. But like 1,000 gold lead between mid laners for Miniduke, but it just doesn't matter. There's this 1,700 lead between this Syndra and this Kennen. And I just have to praise MOUZ for making the decision, because they put Czekolad up top lane. They made that decision.
Oh, there's the flash. And I think you might see one dead twisted fate. Gadget is gifted his second kill. And the Antonio is just sitting in a bush, leeching experience.
It's warded.
He's on a ward.
It's a 3-level lead.
Oh no, he's dead. He's just dead. He can't even...
Oh no! Oh no! It's a 3-level lead, and Syndra at level 9. It's when you have your Q maxed, you get bonus damage to champions. I mean, I need to ask you a question. It's so doomed.
Where is the Super Liga? Where is it held?
What? Which specific city?
Yeah, what country?
In Spain.
Okay, let's remove the S from that.
Yeah.
That's what the Antonio is going through right now.
Yep. Look at the gold, by the way. Look at Czekolad at the top. And the Antonio's barely, by the way, barely edging out above Kamilius. It is a 3-level lead, honestly. That is insane at this point. This is kind of like similar to the last game. It's probably more severe at this point, but the whole Aurelia Jace matchup that we had is just. But the difference is here, right? We don't have the other side of the map, right? Attila has a farm lead, yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's nice. But Gadget now has 2 kills on this KogMaw. It's a Kog Lulu as well, so any gold on that KogMaw is essentially amplified. It is looking scary. It is looking scary, and we talked about this Kennen, the backline threat he can be. This Kennen's not a threat, period. Backline or not.
Yeah, he's at the game for at least a long time. I think it's probably the nicest way to word it. And they're going to use this Rift Herald top side as well to take this tower down. And bot side, it can't get traded out for Dragon because that's not up. The wave's not in a position for them to really find any plates themselves to answer out on the bot side. So maybe a plate mid if they're lucky, but they're not really set up for that either. Although a lot of people are leaning topside right now, so maybe they find some plate. They've got that Destiny available.
Yeah,
no flash available to see Antonio, and it looks like MOUZ is just going to step away.
Yeah, warning ping's coming out. They back off, they respect the pressure of the Destiny, but even so, like, I would actually be a little bit concerned for Vodafone Giants if they ended up committing to that play, just because this Syndra does so much damage. Level 10 at this point. One more level and you get 2 points in your ultimate. Another massive spike. Luden's already picked up. This is a scary Syndra.
I mean, utterly terrifying. Utterly terrifying stuff. Attila got the Gale Force finished up. Same for Gadget, though. He's going to shove a wave in. His support doing a good job of covering him as Attila finds a plate.
And, you know, Attila's been farming away happily, and again, that was one of the concerns. Can you shut down the Sivir? Hasn't really happened here. I'm not going to sit here and say that what they've got in return wasn't worth it, because absolutely, MOUZ are happy with how the game's gone so far, but the Sivir is going to be in a pretty powerful position. There is threats to deal with the Sivir, though. Again, the Trundle pillar is problematic when you don't have, like, you know, sort of like a dash to get over it. And obviously things like the Syndra and the Sett, even the KogMaw are just big threats when you're short range. So I'm concerned, but we don't.
Miniduke, you did that in his face. You knew that was going on, or was it a bait all along? Because they found the knocker, but oh my lord! Just a punch to the face sends them packing as the scatter the weak from Czekolad comes down. The Everfrost is going to root up Pridestalkr. Czekolad's trying to get in range as 113 jumps in. The block from Kasing is clutch! Into the gold card, into the knockup. Satorius is going low, and here comes the Antonio! Slamming down! 113 finds the kill! And the Antonio was useful!
He locked them up. He didn't find a kill himself, but we find a fight win from Vodafone Giants. And honestly, I think MOUZ made the wrong call there, completely. They stopped the Destiny, great. Satorius, perfect job. He even managed to disengage. Again, amazing. But then MOUZ got greedy. They TP in the Syndra, they look for the extra fight, and it ends up backfiring. Why does Syndra need to come here? And you see this difficult situation. They want to burst out 113, but they can't with the ultimate. And actually, the reason he doesn't die is because of the ultimate from the Xin Zhao, because he gets disengaged out of range. So all of Czekolad's damage has been used. The Antonio buys more time, and this poor Sett, who's been trying to survive for so long, eventually does go down. I think, honestly, MOUZ should have taken the interrupt on the Destiny and been happy, and then look to use that continued pressure in the top lane from the Syndra.
Yeah, I think you're completely right there. It looked like a little bit of maybe a big brain strategy. They played to interrupt because 113 was hovering. At the same time, it's hard to say whether or not that was just a big brain strategy, but beautiful stuff there from Vodafone Giants. They're able to take the mid lane tower, and that is going to open up Miniduke even more so on the map. However, with this Rift Herald in the pocket of Pridestalkr, they could in turn open up the mid lane or look to open up one of these side lanes. Although the tier 2 in the top side probably already fairly low. You can see the indicator on the mini-map shows that it's lost some health somewhat. As Satorius, let's be careful a little bit here. Gold card going to get charged up by Miniduke, but Satorius able to get the movement speed to get away.
You know what? I'm going to say one thing. There's a certain pair... Oh, seen an engage bot.
Gadget, Ghost, Gale Force, and tower goes down.
Cleanse Gale Force.
That's the one.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, the tower's already chunked out. They're able to close it out. Miniduke's presence doesn't really do much other than being summoners, but that cleanse being down is a relevant factor. Now, I was going to say there is one thing I would suggest that Pridestalkr and Satorius in particular definitely pick up. That's a pair of Merc Treads, because there is a lot of CC on the side of Vodafone Giants. A lot of value in those. Now, we do see the Herald come down mid.
Nice little gold card. They got a lot of CC to work with. Satorius has to flash away. Gold card charged up again, and Satorius eating a fair amount of damages. 1-1-3 finds himself polymorph, jumps in, finds the knock on the Pridestalkr. They're stealing away a bit of that AD as Miniduke flashes forward, finds the gold card. Here comes the Antonio onto the flank with the slicing maelstrom, locking two members down as 1-1-3 secures the kill. And Vodafone Giants, just like that, starting to find some use out of their Kennen pick.
It just feels like, again, overcommitting, and Vodafone Giants are very effective at collapsing. They have a lot of chase down potential, and they're able to pick up these 3 kills. And now the gold lead feeling a lot smaller. There's still that massive gap between Czekolad and the Antonio. But at this point, the rest of the team are starting to catch up. And you throw down the Herald, but why are you fighting here, right? I know Satorius gets a bit caught out. There's not really an easy position for him to back away. But it feels like MOUZ are so ready for a fight, and it's like, I just don't see the reason for it. It's very hard to punish the Braum, Xin Zhao when they're under tower, and you're allowing these opportunities where the rest of the team can chase up and follow through. And now 1-1-3 picks up another 2 kills. He's 3-2-0. He's got a massive farm lead over Pridestalkr. Across the board, apart from that top lane, we have advantages in terms of CS. Yeah. And Vodafone Giants have managed to close that gold gap.
And Miniduke closing in on that rapid fire cannon, which is going to be a really big one, because realistically, other than the KogMaw, you're working with relatively short range. That rapid fire cannon means you can gold guard from a pretty far distance and enable the team with that. So really nice pick up there for Miniduke. We do see it often. It is the typical second item for the Twisted Fates, and this is why with a lot of the comps right now are skirmishing comps and gold cards from downtown. Very effective.
Yeah, it's a massive spike, and you can just play around that. Your team just like throws just anyone who steps up, throw a gold card at them, chunk them out. You have a lot of power to do so, and then eventually, when you feel like you have enough momentum from that, you just pop the ult from the Sivir, you rush forwards with the Kennen ult, and you can take them down. And on top of that, they have the Braum passive as well. You stun card, you hit them with a Q, you have the follow-up. Now, I don't think this is that easy of a dive, but fortunately for Vodafone Giants, they are bringing more members.
Yeah, they're bringing Kasing up. He's going to let the shield up for the moment, and Satorius able to clear the wave. But Satorius now has to be very careful, because the redive's going to come in. They find the knock up into the Glacial Fissure, and Satorius is going to go down, but not before trading out into Miniduke on the other side of the map. So tier 1 tower, maybe it just get traded out for a tier 2 tower. Meaning the net gold game probably going to be pretty okay for MOUZ here.
Yeah, MOUZ are happy, because the big thing, because it's such a hard dive onto a Sett, they have to bring more members, right? That's 4 committed up towards that top side. So in return, MOUZ can put 2 bot and 2 mid. So they have farm being picked up by the KogMaw, pressure on the tower, but also, I mean, the Syndra is doing a lot of damage, let's just say. And Pridestalkr there for the flash follow-up, and then they just wait for the next wave to come in. But that mid tower also went down, so MOUZ get 2 towers for 1, and it's a kill each. And again, this was a tier 2 in the bot lane, so all that extra gold afforded to that. MOUZ in a pretty comfortable position, but they have now reset. They're fanning back on the map. They are very late for this dragon. Dragon's up in 4 seconds. They are nowhere near, and Vodafone Giants going to have complete control of the area, and it's going to be quite tricky for them to push in. They do have tankier members who can face check. The lack of vision might hurt them here, and this is 3rd dragon if Vodafone Giants can secure it.
Flash slicing maelstrom available to the Antonio. That's the big thing to watch out for. Gonna get themselves the dragon, and I think MOUZ might just have to cut their losses here. Don't want to face check into the Antonio. Even if he is 0-3, he still offers a fair amount just due to that slicing maelstrom. So Vodafone Giants able to get away from this one. As they're going to get a bit of interruption thrown at them over the wall.
Yeah, they'll zone them out. They'll take a couple jungle camps, but they aren't really able to do much of anything. And again, there wasn't really a situation where MOUZ could reset sooner, right? They got the play on the bot side, they got the tower mid. I think it's the fact that they overstayed for the tower mid meant they weren't able to get the dragon. I don't think it's awful, honestly. I think they can be kind of happy they got the mid lane tower, but Cloud Soul here is actually quite substantial, right? Cloud Soul for the Kennen, pretty powerful for Sivir as well. Definitely a way of getting them in range, and even just the passive movement speed you get from it is also a big factor in the situation. But Czekolad in trouble.
Unleash power onto Miniduke. The stopwatch comes in, and 113. Can he find the assassination? Miniduke just able to survive, charging up a gold card in case he gets jumped onto. It looks like he's going to be able to get away with his life.
Found that window, and again, this is now the rapid fire spike from the Twisted Fate. That extra range definitely threatening, and they managed to get that shut down on the Syndra. It feels like the map control absolutely in favor of Vodafone Giants. So you get a TP coming out from Miniduke to get back on the map. Antonio's pushing in bot, but I think they're not really going to go for anything now. Yeah, keep the tempo, keep it on the map, but ultimately Vodafone Giants don't really need to go for any big plays right now. 3 minutes until that dragon. Cloud Soul, a lot of people underrate it. I think it is actually pretty major here with how the team fight's going to play out. I think the movement speed, very valuable for getting on top of key targets, especially if you like the Antonio. So I think it's something that MOUZ are going to have to set up for and be able to contest.
I mean, Attila's going to be zooming with Cloud Soul on the Sivir, and then obviously the fact that the Antonio will be able to get the Sivir movement speed in a kind of frontal attack. Gonna be very hard to deal with. Obviously, you do have tools in the pillar, and obviously Satorius is going to be the kind of major tool to handle the Antonio. The Antonio not really in one-shotting the entire team area at the moment on the Kennen.
Yeah, a little bit away from that, we'll say. Obviously, not had the greatest early start, but right now both AD carries really strong, right? We saw the Wit's End picked up by Gadget. There was a lot of power between those, and the mid lane is also very strong. I am talking about Czekolad. Obviously, he did go top lane this game, but those two, a lot of power, a lot of items being picked up, and it feels like the game is sort of ramping up to this point in 2 minutes where the setup comes. And I think a big thing to take into account is the fact pretty much every summoner is available across the board. So 2 minutes before the objective, we could see some light sort of scraps come out here. If they're able to burn some critical summoners, you know, a flash from Czekolad, a cleanse from Gadget, or vice versa, a flash from Attila or Miniduke, it could be very valuable. This is the window where if you burn something now, ultimates would be up again, but summoners wouldn't. But the window's starting to fade, so I think both teams playing relatively defensive on this one.
23 minutes on the clock. The gold lead is dead even. I don't think gold lead fully tells the story. It's a little bit like our last game, actually, because the individual golds and, you know, who you kill is what's important, I think. It's not quite as heavy as it was last time around, but they're actually using the Destiny here. They're looking to find a kill onto Gadget. He instantly cleanses with the Everfrost comes down, and that's going to be the knockup. But look at the Lulu shield, and Gadget actually outputting some serious DPS on the KogMaw, but burning the Lulu off pretty big as Kasing finds himself knocked up. They go in for the slam. They pop the Sivir off. Teleport's coming in on the Antonio. Satorius going to find himself locked down for the moment as the Antonio is liquefied. Able to stop watching the moment, keep himself alive, but he can't even pop on the time. That scatter was huge. They find the lockdown onto the members necessary. The polymorph is going to be there as 1-1-3. Sure, he kills Gadget, but he will go down. What a scatter by Czekolad.
Oh, that was so good. Czekolad really setting them up with that play. And this kind of felt like, you know, they saw an opportunity to punish Gadget. Bare minimum, you burn his cleanse, which is great. You can see Miniduke's willing to back away, but then they end up committing a bit more. And MOUZ are like, we burnt cleanse before the dragon. We're just going to take the fight. We don't want to wait around, let you reset your cooldowns. We're going to go for the full-on fight. Satorius jumps straight in, but isn't able to find too much, getting locked down. But then on the other side, look at the Antonio. Exhausted, ends up stop watching, and just instantly get bursted. But this scatter of the week, catching all 4 members. The exhaust from Kasing actually saves Attila. I think without that, Attila just dies. And then we do see 113 turning around to kill the KogMaw. So it could have been a lot worse. Don't get me wrong. But Czekolad's scatter of the week was just honestly so... I mean, look at the damage. That says it all, right?
0 from the Antonio.
It has not been a good game for the Kennen. I'll say that much.
It's not been a good game for the top laners.
This is when Twitch chat's going to be like 0 KekW. That's all it's going to be.
I mean, Satorius is also 0-2, 0-4. Like, both of the top laners in this game.
At least Satorius did something in the fight, right?
Yeah, true.
You know, it's just a bit rough. But either way, Dragon secured by MOUZ. They delay the soul a bit longer. It doesn't really mean that much individually for them. I don't think ult cooldowns is too much of a concern. But again, delaying that soul is important. Gold is fairly even. And they are open for another opportunity. But for now, Vodafone Giants have pushed that wave in bot. And are sort of playing to the top side. I think this wave, it's kind of hard to see just judging from the map, but it might end up pushing out eventually. Either way, MOUZ may well just send someone over. I think actually seeing the wave build up now is going to push out. So MOUZ have a timer on their side. This wave's going to stack up. Someone needs to answer it. They can then play through the top side of the map. They're going to start clearing out vision. But they can't be too hasty because right now that wave is just stacking. They don't really need to answer for Vodafone Giants.
No, they don't. And Attila, you know, is farming up. 300 CS on the Sivir. Got the Infinity Edge Gale Force and that Essence Reaver. This is kind of, you know, an old school point about Sivir, but, you know, champion scales pretty well. Once you get a couple of items under the belt, spikes very, very hard. But also you have against a KogMaw, who is similar in that sense, as Satorius is going to find 113. 113 is actually going to jump in onto him. There's the Destiny being used. The Glacial Fish is pretty big, but Antonio can't even get in the fight. Satorius loses life. Antonio goes for the ultimate, has the platter. Okay, well, no one saw.
This has not been a good game for the Kennen. Just proto belted in the wall. You know, they got the Satorius kill. Let's forget about the Kennen. They got the Satorius kill. So they'll take that. And you know what? I was talking about that bot wave. It was kind of hard to judge it. Look at the map. It is kind of just being evaporating constantly. And eventually, Vodafone Giants wave will win out. But it was stagnated for a long time there. Yes. Kind of funny to see. But yeah, didn't end up amounting to any pressure. But regardless, MOUZ, it's kind of tricky, right? You see Satorius dive in, he instantly gets CC locked and taken down. There's not really too much you can do other than press W. He is more useful than the Kennen, but not by a significant margin. Right now, it really is about those critical carries on both sides. Syndra, the KogMaw, the Sivir, and the Twisted Fate. And both teams, they had that scuffle. We are now looking once again towards that dragon in 2 minutes.
Look at Attila. Attila is almost got max shutdown available at this point. And that's a 1-0 Sivir. There's just so much money being injected into Attila. And this Baron's going to get started up, and it genuinely will get liquefied. Yeah,
Czekolad's not going to be in range in time.
Kasing's doing his best to zone. They've got the Antonio. His Slicing Maelstrom is about to come off cooldown, and Baron not going to get continued by MOUZ.
They got the TP.
Pridestalkr going to take a little bit of damage.
They got the TP. That's what they wanted, essentially. They burned something from that. Not super significant, but they'll take it. Now, Gadget's flash is coming off cooldown again. Really important when we're looking towards this next dragon. And I mean, he is doing a lot of damage to Attila. Attila will do a ton, don't get me wrong, with the Sivir, but in terms of 1v1 dueling potential, I mean, you shouldn't typically see those between AD carries. The KogMaw can kind of just run at you with the Lulu backing him up. And now they will look towards that Baron, and it's on Vodafone Giants the match. This is a Kennen with TP. They do have the Destiny to get some vision, and 113 is there to try and steal this.
There's Miniduke. It's a very, very long-range teleport from the Antonio, and the fight's already started. Big scav of the week. They're just going to commit for the Baron. The Antonio can't quite get in yet. He's looking for that Slicing Maelstrom, looking to lock the members down, but Gadget's untouched. And now the Antonio able to get away for the moment. They can't quite catch Pridestalkr, but they do find themselves the knock-up as Kasing is unleashed and gets scattered. Once again, Czekolad doing oh so much work, and Attila's on his lonesome. He can't really walk forward here. I have questions about that teleport, and that 113, he's going to have to flash away from the scav of the week. Dragon spawning up in 25 seconds, so Soul for Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they rushed the Baron down, and Satorius' role is just interrupt the jungler, stop 113 from getting in, buys a ton of time, ults him away so they're able to secure it, and gets a big gore drinker heal as well. He dies, it doesn't matter. The disengage comes in, exhausted Kennen does 0 damage when he's this far behind. And the thing is, it's very hard to chase this MOUZ lineup. Things like the pillar, the burst damage there, able to shred through them, and eventually Vodafone Giants realize they just lost the Baron, but they get no reprieve. They will, however, take this dragon. Soul picked up. The fight's still going.
The stuns onto 113. He's got the movement speed. Look for the gold card from Gadget. Gonna pop that blast cone, and MOUZ is speedy thanks to Kamilius. I think the Soul's the only reason 113 was able to get away with his life.
And you know what? Baron's temporary, Soul is eternal. So as much as this favors MOUZ right now, Vodafone Giants got that Cloud Soul and will have it the rest of the game. And I think it has a lot of value here. I think the movement speed for their champions, definitely important. Particularly, you think about the Sivir will be ramping up to a crazy amount, even just with the passive movement speed, not talking about the ultimate, just with the Gale Force as well, also granted movement speed. But MOUZ are looking to use that Baron here and now. You see Satorius blocking the flank from the Antonio.
He doesn't have flash either, so, you know, has to find a way on foot to get around onto that flank. And Attila has to be very, very careful, trying with a boomerang just to clear through the wave. Miniduke does have that gold card, but I mean, who are you going to be gold carding? Because Gadget, cleanse available, and even if you do gold card him, you're not going to get in range to do anything else. Attila just trying to clear through these minions as quick as possible, but this tower will not be long for the world. Look at the damage coming out from Gadget, even with Kasing's wall up, but Satorius looks to jump in forward. The Destiny's been used, the health bars are low. Attila goes in. That's a big Everfrost. Miniduke's trying to jump away. The Slicing Maelstrom is going to get thrown down for the moment. Miniduke trying to kite away from Gadget. Can he find that gold card? I don't think he can, as they kill Pridestalkr. Satorius is next up on the menu, as meanwhile, Miniduke goes in for the gold card, trying to kill Gadget, but Gadget takes him down. Gadget now looking for 113. He's trying to kite him away, but he can't do so. He's got the damage, but 113 will be able to finish him up. As Kamilius loses his AD carry, and Vodafone Giants find 4 members of MOUZ.
Yeah, and I think Gadget misread the situation. I think he thought the rest of the team was way closer than they were. Ends up trying to hide in the brush instead of just running away. Gets taken out, and now death time is might be long enough. Giants might just end.
They might just be able to do this. Yeah, you're completely right. 32 minutes on the clock, and it may just be the inhibitor.
I think it's close enough.
Playing it safe.
Yeah, I think it's close enough. It was still 5 seconds on the Syndra. I think it might have been enough, but damage done there. The Cloud Soul around them, allowing them to chase it down, and this is just a mistake from Gadget. He walks up, and he takes tower aggro by altering the Braum, and then he keeps taking tower hits until he gets chunked out. And remember, this is no flash on Gadget. So Miniduke comes in, beautiful Everfrost here, hitting 3 members. The cleanse comes out, but he stuns Gadget again, and Gadget has no choice. If he walks towards Vodafone Giants, he dies. So he has to run towards the TF, and that allows the rest of his team just to clean up. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I think Gadget thought the rest of the team were closer, and that's why he tried to hide. I'm struggling to understand what the thought process was there, but either way, definitely wasn't the right call. Obviously, we as with the sort of bird's eye view, well, not really a bird's eye view, but with the full vision.
Everyone has a bird's eye view in this game, mate.
Yeah, everyone has a bird's eye view in this. Yeah, very funny, Jake. We get to see everything. We have vision enabled, so we have more context than he did. But ultimately, MOUZ still hold on. They don't lose their base completely yet, even though it gets a bit chunked out. But things are very tense at this point. 1.5 minutes on Baron, 2.5 on Elder.
Both of these AD carries are almost full build as well. Attila 420 CS. I assume that's going to be a Bloodthirster as the final item. Don't think we're going to see a Storm Razor. I haven't seen a Storm Razor in an incredibly long time.
A Storm what?
This is, yeah, I actually was like, wait, is that the item called? Like, it's been that long, I genuinely would have fallen for that.
Yeah, do not see that thing. At this point, really hitting sort of critical mass. Sivir doing an insane amount of damage. The KogMaw also has gone for that Wits End Branduins. He's bulky. He's got a Lulu back him up, so those resistances have even more value. And they're looking for 113.
113, maybe overstepping, maybe not. The Scandal Week gets blocked away. Here's the Antonio. Here is the Slicing Maelstrom. Can they make it work? This fight is there. Czekolad's found Attila on the backline, though. And Gadget is just free firing over the wall. Vodafone Giants are on the wrong side of the map. They trade out their AD carry for nobody, and now the death time are this long. I think this might just be Vodafone Giants needing to reset. They could lose the game here, but Miniduke's hanging around, wants to push in.
I mean, I think this should be Baron for MOUZ, right? Attila's down. He's going to be down for an extra 15 seconds after the Baron spawns. A chaotic fight. And honestly, Gadget, everyone piled onto him. It looked like he was going to go down. He had no cleanse available, but the flash keeps him safe. And now MOUZ should just get the Baron off the back of this. Tense moments, but MOUZ able to pull through. They're able to shut this one down really quickly. 113 could try steal.
I mean, you give Elder if you go in for the steal.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth. So Baron, Reset's going to come in for MOUZ. They're going to be able to get back on the map. This does mean Vodafone Giants can get control of the area first, and Attila is back up, but taking stock. Flash, not available for Gadget, but the cleanse is back up. There is also Mikhail's and Kamilius. Attila, flashless. I don't think it's going to be up in time, and I think Miniduke might be close enough, but they are closing in if we get like an extended stalemate. But for now, very much looking at what can be done by these pivotal carries. The AD carry is super strong right now.
Yeah, they really are. They're not full build, and Gadget stepping forward. They're going to look for the blast cone over the wall to get away from Gadget, but
they're using that movement speed.
Track given over to the mid lane. Get some movement speed, get some permanent vision to work with. Watch Gadget, watch Czekolad. These are the two people who define the fight for the side of MOUZ. Dragon has been started. It's going to be quick either side. Whoever tries to take it, whoever tries to go for it. Antonio's on that flank. They can look to throw him out. The pillar's been thrown down. Antonio tries to get the movement speed to get back out. Kamilius has been pretty heavily chunked here, and the pillar on cooldown for the moment. Well, the Satorius can throw the Antonio out. Dragon gonna reset. Gold card comes in, and look at the damage by Gadget. By Kasing. They're coming onto the backline. They can't find the opening, and this could just be Gadget going down. He's finally dead. The slam is there, but it's a double kill. They've lost their AD carry. They've lost everyone. It's gone so wrong. Here's the Antonio. It's the hero turnaround for the Kennen. Who doubted him? Triple kill for the Antonio. Pridestalkr bolting away, and the Antonio with the Cinderella turnaround. Ace for Vodafone Giants.
Vodafone Giants get the team fight win. Gadget steps too close to the sun and gets burnt, and now they're going to be able to close out the game with everyone on MOUZ going down. It was down to the wire, a super important game to fight for that second place spot in the group, and Vodafone Giants, they just edge ahead.
Absolutely bonkers game, Orcs. 38 minutes on the clock in an absolute bloodbath. Vodafone Giants take the win.
And you know what's the critical thing? Is that the Antonio saved his KDA. 448 doesn't even look that bad at this point. But, I mean, the start from MOUZ, the fact they managed to put this Kennen so far behind, it felt like the game might just be over on the back of that. But despite that, we got a long stalling stage where we saw both AD carries farming up heavily. We saw some proactivity from Vodafone Giants, but ultimately it came down to those clutch team fights. And here's to say it, but Gadget kind of flopped at the end. You know, he dashed in too far forwards, got a bit too close, and the CC available to Vodafone Giants just completely shut him down. And as soon as that KogMaw died, very hard for MOUZ to win that team fight.
Well, we actually have a bit of a surprise for you. We've brought Kasing in for an interview. So, Kasing, hello. Hopefully I can hear you in my ears. I'm not sure yet, but we're finding out. There he is. Hello, mate. Hey. How are you doing?
Pretty good, because we won against MOUZ, so most likely it will be either second or first, maybe a KogMaw lose, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that was a bonkers game. What were the comms like as we were getting later and later? Those fights were getting, honestly, so scrappy. What was going on in the team chat?
I mean, to be honest, it was like, we already knew that we had a composition that would work well in these kind of like front-to-back team fights. And it was more about us just being calm and patient about it, especially with Antonio, obviously, since he's like on the flank, right? And if he makes like one misstep, he would just get caught and die. But obviously with the early game and how it happened, I would say we recovered quite well. I think Attila, even with all the bans on AD carries, he's still able to carry. Thank goodness for that.
I wanted to ask you a bit about your match up against KogMaw, because it felt, particularly in the mid game, you had a lot of control against them. What you felt sort of, what do you feel like was the sort of moment where they started to regain that control and pull ahead?
To be honest, against KogMaw, I think that's probably one of the most fun games I've played in a long while, actually. Like, I had, we were actually ahead in the early game, I think about like 3 to 4K, and it kind of went downhill when we started to get caught on side, and then we kind of chained into it, right? One person dies and another person dies, and then we got ace on the dragon fight on bot side. I think that's when the game started turning around. But I really felt like that was our game to win, and yeah, we just made mistakes.
But at the end of the day, you did win it, and that is the first round robin for you in the group of death, completely sorted. You know, you come out of that first stage at least in second. But you know, what has this win done for the confidence going into that second round of this of the group stages?
I mean, I feel like it's obviously a good sign because generally, if you go like at least 2 wins in your the first round robin, it's like a good sign that you can at least get second place or make it past groups. But personally, I wanted to aim for the #1 spot. You know, I felt like KogMaw, as much as like I have respect for them as a team, I feel like we could have contested them regardless of regardless of what happened. Basically, I just felt like it sucks that we lost. Also.
Pretty good stuff. All right, well, Kasing, honestly, really entertaining game. Thank you for giving us that to round out the day. It's been a bonkers day, and you gave us a bonkers game. Congratulations on your win, and congratulations on making second, at least in the first half. We'll speak to you soon, all right? See you later.
Thank you, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate.
Bye.
Whew, Orcs, that was honestly such an amazing game.
That's a game to end the day on. That's
it was a good one to end the day on. Let's go on. Now we can go rest and relax after that. I need to see some of those plays again because that final fight was. I'm genuinely not sure how the Antonio beat Satorius, and then was able to rejoin the fight and help mop up because that was the big turning point was the Antonio turning up after the scarier members were gone and then he was able to help mop up.
I think it was definitely a factor, but I just really remember that Gale Force from Gadget. It's it's late in the game. You get hypey. I can get it, and you have the Lulu backing you up. You're super confident. You're looking for that opportunity to make the play to win the game, but it just ended up backfiring. And I think what we saw was obviously that really good early game from MOUZ, but then a lot of mistakes, a lot of overcommittance for this mid lane tower where Vodafone Giants were just able to match. And I think 113 in particular was a big driving force on this Xin Zhao. You see him get a double kill off the back of this play, but I just think the way we saw Vodafone Giants collapse consistently was really solid.
It was honestly really clutch team fighting from both sides, but I think as we got later and later, a mixture of Gadget maybe being a little bit too over-eager in his positioning and just some really smart plays. But I mean, this scat of the week from Czekolad just felt like the final nail in the coffin for Vodafone Giants. And the fact they're still able to come back from this, the fact they're still able to, secure Soul later down the line. And then this final fight. Like I mean,
just watch Gadget. It's this moment where he dashes in and the Braum has the shield up. It's rough because it's such a close one, but if he'd maybe had a bit more damage on the Braum, taking him out, maybe he could have actually done a lot more. But it's one of those things where one mistake at this point in the game can cost you it, a lot of pressure on them, and ultimately MOUZ ended up pretty much losing off the back of it. But again, as you said, the Antonio, a veteran player, made it before to the finals of EU Masters, but yet to win it. But he found his way back into that game.
I mean, 20. The goal lead's huge, but then you look at this, the damage being dealt there. 35k coming out from Czekolad on that Syndra. AD carries pumping out some serious numbers as well. That game was one of the most fun games I think we've had this group stage so far.
I want to give credit to 113 though. I mean, he was such a monster on this Xin Zhao. I mean, look at his damage. More damage than anyone else in his team. In the thick of the fight. Great ultimate usage. And it felt like his ultimate was always soaking so much damage. It felt like, you'd have Syndra ultimates or like 5 KogMaw autos flying out in a second, and it would just all get blocked because you'd pop at the right moment. It was really stellar play. I think him and Czekolad were my standouts on either side just for some stellar play. But ultimately, Vodafone Giants will take that. As Kasing said, getting those 2 wins in the first round robin puts them in a really good spot. If they repeat the same as the first round robin, they will end up getting likely second place, but obviously the goal, as he said, is to go for first, challenge KogMaw. And the thing is, if they go 3-0 in the next round robin and KogMaw go 2-1, then they could end up having that tiebreaker up against them. And I think he is looking for that revenge.
Well, let's bring up the standings at the end of day 3 here at the Amazon EU Masters and see where we are. Over in Group A, Misfits and UCAM are tied up. Then we have over in Group B, Movistar and PDW tied up. Group C is a little bit closer in the sense that Illuminar are in first, but then Big and Fnatic Rising tied below them. And then Group D, Carmine Corp in first, Vodafone Giants in second, MOUZ in third, Matchco in third. Funnily enough, the group of death is the only group which is actually currently got some kind of a lockdown. Now, this is tomorrow's schedule. This is what games we got on the final day of the first week here at the Amazon EU Masters. Movistar Riders versus PDW, Penta versus Tricked, Zero Tenacity taking on Fnatic Rising, Big versus Illuminar, a Go Rogue versus a North Assist, UCAM versus Misfits Premier. Ooh. That's a banger games.
We have some really, I think for me, UCAM up against Misfits Premier, that's probably my standout, I think, overall. But I think there's a lot of good games. I feel like I say that as if we haven't had good games every day of the week. I think every group has so many stacked rosters. There may be some one-sided games for sure, but like even the games that on paper are one-sided, like today, I think a lot of people would have said Matchco against K-Corp would be a K-Corp stomp, and it wasn't. So we've just been getting honestly blessed at this point.
Genuinely, I've done every EU Masters, and this has been one of the most fun group stages I've ever had to cover. We've had so many good games. The groups are incredibly tight, and it's all to play for. It's been an amazing day, but we still have one more day of action. That'll be tomorrow. We'll be starting exactly the same time as normal on the same channel, so you can make sure you tune in for the final day of the first week here at the Amazon EU Masters. But we're going to be signing off for now. So, guys, make sure you stay hydrated, get rested, and we'll see you for day 4 of the Amazon EU Masters. Good night.
Yeah, very nice. And Levi dives forward. They might be able to get a tower, but Jacktron and Woolite have now both attended the fight. So it'll be a 3v3 and a decent slow coming in ultra dominant from Jacktron. This is center plate though, so there's so much CC. You don't have to hit one where you can just hit another 7 as the crystalline arrow lands in onto the right. They're going to deliver a whole heap of pain directly to his face. Chase is burning low, but does get healed. Nice ultimate only lands onto the Xin Zhao though, which will lure up in the fight a little bit longer. Dreedy goes in, Cyclone kick picks up 1. Can't get anything else, but has a second chance, remember, because of that rework. And there's the second kill. Hades securing it free on the fight, but he's going to go down. All 10 members of the game are around the neighborhood, and they want to fight for this objective. He's going to be able to secure it. Movistar Riders have the perimeter, and they go towards Kasing. Can they get the kill on the flat? Smite has been used. It's going to be stolen away. It was Margie who secured it. He's going to get the shutdown as well. Madly's going to go down as Tricks are forced into the pit. Do they have flashes from get out? Double kill going over to Kaiser. Nautilus picks up another. Hey, this dragon tax has gone on through. He's taken half his health bar already on the backline. The maelstrom is massive. It stuns 1. It takes down another as the fight kicks off in earnest. Maxwell is trying to get resets. Double kill on the Viego.
Barrel not going to get chained to Brunette. Now finds a kick off the Wolfchen. Looking for the kick. What an insect! Phantom receives the chains, but the bomb will go down. And they find the kill onto the Nautilus.
K-Corp gonna move on to that Baron now. Oh, Steve
he's gonna scatter that pretty big. Heartbreaker after Heartbreaker. Steve waits the sword, forms to steal away. Can Sevix hold the day? Can he hold this? He's gonna shuffle back and scatter goes wide. Seiken coming in with the backdoor and the kill.
It's ward
experience.
It's ward.
He's on the ward.
It's a 3-level lead.
Oh no, he's dead. He's just dead. He can't even... And this could just be Gadget going down. He's finally dead. The slam is there, but it's a double kill. They've lost their AD carry. They've lost everyone. He's gone so wrong. Here's the Antonio. It's the hero turnaround for the Kennen who doubted him. Triple